Hi everyone, it's Claire and it's a beautiful full moon in Capricorn and it's the strawberry moon, which is good timing for Wimbledon because strawberries are very popular there. And so the moonrise is 8:17 p.m. in London, and I've got 4:56 p.m. Pacific time, I think that is, and 12:56 Universal time p.m. And I looked at 3 astrologers, so Pam Gregory, because what I do is an assimilation of, 2 or 3 of the views. I'm not an astrologer, but I can quite pull together threads to kind of get, a summary, really. And I looked at Tanya Gabrielle, Pam Gregory, and Maria Varsami. They're all amazing goddess astrologers. So basically, all planets are direct, Pam Gregory says, but except we've got Mercury going retrograde actually today. So it's the 29th of June today, and that coincides with the full moon in Capricorn. And don't forget, Mercury retrograde is about kind of being a bit more careful with your planning, with your travel plans, with your communications, and with technology. And then you've got Venus going from Cancer into Leo. So kind of a bit more upbeat feeling, and, a bit more outgoing maybe feelings. And then you've got Mars going from Taurus into Gemini on the 30th, so tomorrow. And you've got Jupiter leaving Cancer and going into Leo. And Leo is very much about like being happy, being heart-centered, and about courage. So there's quite a lot of changes going on. I think there were at least 2 grand trines, which is an astrological, the chart looked very complex, basically. There's a heck of a lot going on. So there's a feeling of a surge for freedom and truth and about courage and leadership. And Chiron, the wounded healer asteroid, is in Taurus on the 19th of June. And she was talking, Pam Gregory, about technology running amok with the Earth, because at the moment she talked a bit about data centers. I think we mentioned it in the last video, using so much water, which is really, going to hamper things. And you've got like power, much, that type of thing needed to fuel the data centers, and galvanizing Chiron in Taurus to be stewards and guardians of the earth. So, you might find more and more stewards of people worrying about the earth, that type of thing. And she mentioned the midsummer was 21st, which I did a little video on then. And she also talked about, full moon being closure, secrets coming up sometimes, and shedding what no longer serves us. And then you've got Sun and Jupiter linked to the USA. And you've got UK. She talked about turbulent politics and very much the astrology all sort of linking in. You've got Capricorn ruling the banks and financial institutes, and rules, regulations, controls. So it's kind of linked in with a lot more being really serious, being goal-oriented. And its rule, Capricorn, is ruled by Saturn, which is actually, very good at concentrating us, looking at our work goals, about controls and even limitations and things, and external authority. So, and also looking at Cronus at time and age. And there's a thing at the moment as well, very much in Australia, and the UK is looking at it, banning 16-year-olds to use social media. It's quite a massive thing, really, and being discussed a lot in the UK. And it's like a sweeping thing that's coming across, Is it good? Is it bad? It's hard on them, or is it better for them? There's a lot going on about that. You've got Sun, Mercury, Jupiter in Cancer, and a lot of sort of emphasis on the home, loved ones and emotions. And Jupiter square to Aries, so about greater control and internal sovereignty. Aries it's like this feisty street fighter and about freedom, truth, and about all having a voice. And Pam seemed to think that this was a summer of hot love. I didn't know exactly what she meant and why. Sounds good fun. Pluto is out of bounds in the south, so this encourages revolution. And Jupiter goes into Leo. Chiron in Taurus opposes Homer, so encourages healing for the earth. Homer rebirthed the landmass, and there could be more volcanic eruptions and land, created. And we've had a heck of a lot of volcanic stuff and terrible things happening, like Venezuela, very serious earthquake. And you had a big one in Philippines on the 8th of June, 7.8, 6.8 in Cuba. New Zealand had stuff, Italy as well. So really, tough. And Mars energizes Uranus, so that is part of it as well, about seismic happenings, I'm afraid. Uranus linked with cutouts, power grids down, electrical surges. And she mentioned a grand cardinal cross this full moon, which signifies an initiatory, I can hardly say it, energy or initiation. And dwarf planets are important at the moment. The moon is near Ixion, she said, Ixion, it's all symbolic, the oldest brother of Pluto, and he murders without compulsion. But she was symbolizing it as being we are kind of more rebellious and going on our own paths. And she even mentioned Prince Harry has Ixion in his chart, and he's playing by his own rules, really. And people might sort of feel like, am I playing by the right rules here, or should I be doing my own thing? Especially as things seem so chaotic at the moment. So, and then we're on to Maria Vasami. She mentioned Jupiter going going to Leo. Mercury retrograde as well, starting today, and an intense full moon, she thinks, 8 degrees of Capricorn. Chiron is 0 degrees and 20, I think, is it 0 minutes and 20 seconds of Taurus. And it's an asteroid, but it's linked with our deepest wounds and how we heal. And Jupiter conjunct Mercury. Jupiter amplifies things. And so 8 degrees of Capricorn full moon, square Saturn and Neptune. So whatever blocks us, like beliefs from childhood, break old patterns, cleansing of heavy structures in us, this sort of thing. And Uranus is slow moving, but it's about sudden changes and freedom and things beyond, almost like beyond our control, and an awakening of freedom in us. Mars conjunct Uranus in Gemini under the full moon. Quite, a substantial thing going on there. Lots of changes. Mars is the masculine energy, helps us see the truth. And 29th of June, full moon, today obviously, and Mercury retrograde in Cancer. It's in Australasia, I think it's on the 30th, by the way. But we need to kind of find a balance between our heart and our mind. And Jupiter is the last degree, 29 degrees of Cancer, expression, communication, and Mercury retrograde as well, being important at the moment. And that goes on for normally about 2.5 weeks. So just be careful of your communications and really check details of plans and so on, and contracts. So Jupiter, 30th of June in Leo, and lots of kind of looking at inner child, playfulness, passion, leadership, and it's heart-based, so some of those feelings going on, and a feeling of taking action to get our freedom and reflecting on our communications and socializing. Expressing ourselves, connecting, finding fun and passion, and as well the South Node connected to Leo, North Node in Aquarius, and that's about the future and the future for the collective. So it might look at really the benefits of teamwork, because Aquarius loves teams and getting teams together, and for the benefit of humankind, really. And Pisces as well, she mentioned a lot about closure, because the North Node in Aquarius is the first degree of Pisces. So Pisces is like the last sign in the zodiac. From the 26th of July, we step into new energy, she mentioned, and June is very intense. New and full moons work together. Maria does a lot of work on moons, and people can work with her over 3 full moons, which sounds quite good, and sort of look at the charts and do it more intensively. I looked at Tanya Gabrielle only briefly, but she mentioned as well, obviously, the Sun Moon square to Saturn. She thinks don't worry and work on projects. And the Sun in Cancer, Mercury retrograde. Sun, Moon square, and Saturn about responsibilities and spending some time alone. And you've got Neptune in Aries, which is more sensitivity. And she thinks there's like, almost a clash between Saturn saying work more and Neptune saying rest more. So you have to work that out yourself. And Mercury conjunct Jupiter, Mars-Uranus conjunction, Mars trine Pluto, about being goal-directed and time to manifest our dreams. And Jupiter in Leo, 30th, performing, joy, expression, a royal sign, etc. And July 4th, she thinks it could be combustible at that point, because you've got Mars conjunct Uranus. So if you're going to July 4th parties, be a bit careful, she thinks. There could be shocks, and only be in, she suggests, small crowds, not big ones. So, to do with Mars conjunct Uranus. Uranus is about surprises. Mars is like powerful, masculine, strong energy. It can be very directive. 5th of July, Mars trines Pluto. Good for empowerment and goal direction. We may be inspired to shift internally in order to step up to a higher place. So that's a quick run through, as quick as I could be. All right, happy full strawberry moon in Capricorn. Take care. Bye.